We're going to show you today more about Millbox, kind of introduce you to the package itself and show you the next generation software from Sim Systems. Now, Millbox has been out for a while, but what is different now is that we've set it up to work with the 51 and 50 systems, and they've also incorporated a lot of additional advanced features that were not originally available for the 4W and other configurations. Now, let's see, show your screen. I'm going to turn off the webinar, and I think I'm going to have Elona take over since she does a lot of the trainings and a lot of the debugging of Sim Systems software now. It's not just Sum 3D, it's Sum 3D and Millbox, so they're kind of the same, but the company is Sim Systems when we refer to it. So.
All right, so I'll start with a quick walkthrough of Millbox, and then some of the tool options that you use probably daily every time you create a new job. And we'll do a side-by-side comparison of Millbox versus Sum 3D because probably just looking at Millbox on its own, it doesn't quite do it justice, but I was just running some tests today just for fun, and the comparison between the two on the number of clicks alone is tremendously much simpler and better in Millbox, and typically it's more like a 4-to-1 ratio on the number of clicks that you'd need to do any type of command in Sum 3D versus Millbox.
And so what this means is, more productive, labor. You're not spending a lot of time just doing the same thing over and over. This is a big complaint I think you've seen in trainings and difficulties in explaining to other people some of the buttons. So it really cleans up the interface, and you can see that even just opening up Millbox, and this is the opening screen essentially, and we're just going to walk through a new job right now and kind of highlight as we go through it some of the features and benefits of what you may have seen in Sum 3D, or if you're new to some Millbox and Sum 3D and just evaluating, this is the next generation. So.
All right, so from the main screen, the main workflow in Millbox will be on your right, and we'll always start with clicking on a new job. We'll have the machine options. Obviously, you won't see all three of them. You will only see the machines that you do use in your operations. That way, if you're only using the 51, you never have to actually make the choice for the machine. It will automatically select it for you.
And one cool feature too now is for people that you can see it's grouped and visualized. So for new employees, it's a lot easier to train them because it's more visual. Now we could go to Sum 3D and show you the same view of what you would see using Sum 3D starting a new job. Now this down here is what Elona is pointing to is the entire list. Now you can see that's there's some confusion in there. What Millbox does essentially is group a lot of these machines into more usable and user-friendly packages. You still use Sum 3D in the background, so kind of give you an idea of Millbox is that Millbox is a layer on top of Sum 3D in some ways. And so this tool is basically a better GUI or user interface that simplifies your workflow and helps with more automation that is not available in Sum 3D in some ways. So going back to Millbox, now you can see on the right side here there's the same machines available, but if Elona clicks on one of the tool sets now, this helps clean up some of the confusion on some of the various tool sets that you may have, and these are like the descriptions to make sure that you understand what tool sets are in the machines.
Okay. So once we select the machine, the next step is to select the material. And in Millbox, you also have these strategies available for the Vita blocks.
And then there's multiple fixture types. You can see that some of them will have multiples. In this case, it just happens to have multiple for Vita and Amic. But you can see you can switch between them because sometimes some materials do have a block form and a disk form depending on your setup. But also, if you go to composite resin One of the things too is there's a more visual indication. Instead of typing in numbers as you would in some 3D, it's all done right at the beginning to simplify the workflow. But going back to the the standard workflow that a lot of people are used to is the zirconia milling feature. So we're going to go through that.
So once I've made the selections, I'll just click on the check mark to confirm, and it will automatically take me to the STL import workflow piece.
Go ahead.
The STL import window, now you have options to for it to default in the main or the previously located screen, so it doesn't always have to default in the manufacturing directory. If you have multiple 3 shapes or multiple CAD systems and you don't want it to always default to one or the other, you can always just let it default to the last location, or
there's other features too that they make available. Now this is in test mode and not available yet, but it will be, is you can do something simply like, let's say you have multiple network folders and you just drag and drop. So there's, your technicians can do this on with themselves. You don't have to call CAP or your IT department to help it out if they know all the folder locations. We can also do this during the installation to help you out. But again, some 3D or Sim Systems has gone above and beyond to address a lot of the user issues and challenges that we've seen, supporting you guys, and kind of made it a lot easier. And I hope you see this as we continue to highlight and point them out as we go along. Back to you.
So this would be a great feature if you have the CAD design software defaulted to separate the cases by material. You can always add the folders to the top 3 or 4 materials that you most commonly use over here for shortcuts. Okay, so once I'm in the folder where I need to be, and this one is abutments, I'll just select one of the hybrid abutment options. And these are just sample STLs.
You can see that. You can still see the views down here.
Yep.
Similar to some 3D also. Same features. You can see the height. You can see the angle optimized that it would potentially be put in. But a lot of that stuff is still dependent on how you nest it. So.
And I can select the object type. A lot of the object types will be the same as some 3D, so no change there, nothing new to learn. But if you are new, the object types is what determine what strategy is used. Okay, so if that is the only object I need to import, I can click on the check mark, and that will close the STL import option and bring me back to the blank import option.
Well, let's show them the plus option right now.
But if I click on the plus option, it leaves me in the same location so that I can go and import more objects.
Sorry, that thing's in the way. Let's see. Sorry, 1 second. We're just trying to, there's a button hiding behind here that we need to push to go up. There you go. Oh, we need to go back one more. Sorry.
Can I?
It's on simple right now, so you can't.
All right. So I'll go up one more so I can pull up a different object type. And I'm trying to get to the main STL folder. Oh, I think it's because we clicked on the shortcut that you added of the abutments on the left.
Yeah, we'll just do it this way.
There we go.
So you can still see it's pretty easy to get to all this stuff while you're navigating through it. Let's just go with some crowns.
So I'll go on the crowns samples and just pick one.
Or just do a couple, I guess. Maybe add a few.
So to add a few, I can do Control and select any that I want. Or if I want to select all of them, I can either select the first, hold down Shift, select the last one, or I can just click on the bottom here and slide up to import all of them. Obviously, I only want to import a couple. Select Full Contour, Crown.
Yeah, let's call this good.
And we'll click the check mark.
And as it's importing, there's some feedback that we've given back to some 3D. They're working on potentially adding this as a background loading feature so you can continue to work on it, so to help out. So next, it automatically pops you into the disk selection menu, and you can see there's is filtered by the materials that are supported in the Millbox setup. So this can be changed. You know, sometimes customers ask, you know, oh, it doesn't have a lot of the materials that we want and the thicknesses. Well, in Millbox, you can edit them and add them manually if necessary. So don't think of it as a restriction. It's more of a streamlining option to prevent any confusion in your production that, you know, let's say you don't have any 14 millimeter disc. You don't want your technician accidentally selecting it and potentially causing milling issues because they're using a 15 millimeter puck. So go ahead.
I actually often in some 3D, customers will leave the default to whatever some 3D has when you create a disc.
Yeah.
And eventually causing it to have the mill crash because the wrong disc was loaded. So this one I think clarifies it pretty well. There's no mistake whether you're creating a size 14 or a size 12 disc.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I like about this window. And the fact that it shows you how many discs you have available. So on the right here, the one, it's just showing me that I have one already available used stock on the size 14.
In that folder.
In that folder.
So there are other functionalities in Millbox that help separate the materials, but in our configurations, we just keep it very generic since we do have a lot of customers and customizations are hard to manage. So we do set it up in a way that it's flexible for the business, but yet, you know, just simple to train on also. So.
And another cool feature right up top here, it tells you what the minimum thickness required for the disc is, so you know what disc you can create if you need to create a new one, or use if you need to use reusable. To select a reusable, I can just click on the one, and it will open up all of my options to select from, and I can just select the one that I want.
And you can see that awesome feature there is where it's showing where it's going to nest. So you can have an idea if they're all going to fit into it, which is a really cool feature, I think, to just, you know, optimize your setups.
And I can click on the check mark, or if I go back to the blank, I can create a new disk, and I will create a multi, so we can show you the multi-layered disk view. It has been on high demand by a few customers actually, Paul, so this is pretty awesome.
Yeah, so we set it up in a way that it was very visual. We use cat blue, obviously, but it does help, and we'll show you after this, you know, kind of the layers and how you can see it a lot clearer, and you can get the best usage out of your material pucks. Now, it doesn't give you the exact, you know, but it does show the striations, and what we're using as the generic is the Katana multi-layer specification for thicknesses.
Yep. So if you'd be creating a multi-layer disc, you'd select the plus sign from one of the bottom options. So I'll go ahead and create a size 14 by clicking on the plus sign. I'll change the shrinkage rate to whatever it needs to be. Type up the disc name. Today's the 18th, right? Yeah, sure. Okay, and the lot code, same as in some 3D, it is optional. It's only for your own tracking purposes. And we'll go ahead and click the check mark. And it will automatically default to start milling. Obviously, we don't want to start that yet. We want to show some of the few options.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start by turning off the clamp because it's in the way when you're trying to get a side view so you can see the layers that we were talking about.
You see that it's pretty clear and simple. You know, the descriptions are in there too, so it's a lot easier to read. And this does support multiple languages also, so the same features are going to be in there, so that if you do have someone who speaks a different language, you know, it's the translations are available.
Okay, so that's the layering of the Katana multi-disc.
And now this
25, 15, 15, 25.
Yeah, you can see it, the striation, so we kept it white on top, and you know, these little transition layers and then the dark, you know, core layer down here. And so what Elona is going to show is the killer features now of Millbox is the spruing, and a lot, you know, the time that you spend most of the time, you know, setting up a job is where to put it in your disk. And For people who have used some 3D, this is going to be a breath of fresh air, I think, because you realize the amount of clicks that you have to do for spruing, this is going to be a lot better. So I'll let you take it from here and show them how it works.
Yep. So since we're talking about the multi-layer discs, let me start with positioning the units in the disc first. So just trying to move the unit up or down so you can get that layering correctly. It's in some 3D, it's 3 clicks just to bring the table up, and then it depends on how much up or down you want to move it. That's how many more clicks it is. In Millbox, it's just click to select the crown, and then 1 click to select the blue arrow and move the unit up or down.
So a cool feature, as Elona was dragging it all the way up, is that you can see that it visually now tells you it's sticking out. Now, some 3D didn't really have that. You kind of had to figure it out yourself. So it seems minor, but in some ways it does help you when you're in a rush, or if you're trying to get that last minute job out and you're really trying to get it in there and you're like, oh, I have to fix this really quick. And you can kind of see that it's like, oh, okay, I want it like this. And now you can see, I'll let Elona still continue, but you can see it's very, very, very simple. So go ahead.
And again, changing the position not only up or down, but also changing the angle so you get all of the cusps in the correct level in the layering disc. It's still using the accurate positioning in some 3D. It's 3 clicks just to bring it up, and then you keep clicking the plus and the minus. Oh, it's in the wrong direction, so let's go the other way. I always have such a hard time.
Well, we can show them really quick, actually. Clicks. So you saw how we just did that. We have some 3D in the background to show you. We can close this. But now let's just try to do the same thing. Now, no layers.
So trying to move this around, I'd have to go under the accurate positioning, left click to select, right click to bring up the table, and then, I never really know what the correct side the angles goes. I always find it easier to just click, and then if it's going the wrong way, then look at
Yep, that's not the right one. Yeah, so it's a lot of guessing because sometimes it's hard. You don't know which one is the XY plane or the YZ plane.
It also depends on which view you're seeing from these top views.
And then if you wanted to get it up,
position, moving it up and down, it's
so if you go all the way out,
you can see clicks. That much.
And see, and if you go all the way out, you can see that it doesn't really warn you either. So if you just missed it by chance, if you're like, the disc is really at the limit and you're trying to fit this unit in there, you wouldn't see that maybe potentially that's out. So what Millbox will do then is warn you. You would see red even if you change the orientation of the disc. So again, it's a really, really, really good feature. A lot of this stuff is automatic now in Millbox. So this is all I'm clicking. We're both clicking, just trying to get this going. And now we have to reposition the sprues. So again, this is a huge, huge time saver for your business.
For a minute.
And so Elona's going to show another fun thing, I guess now.
So, since we're here, I'm going to show the spruing. So trying to move the sprue around in some 3D, that's another, it was like 7 clicks to move the sprue around, and it still doesn't do it right. So if I go under the move rotate option and select one of the sprues, so I'd have to click on that, the tool, click on the sprue. Why did it select all of them?
Oh, because you have the, no, because it's collecting on the surfaces.
What?
Move. You do it that way? Well, it might be a Millbox thing because this is a Millbox job too.
Oh,
so,
I see.
I would just add a sprue.
All right. So let's add a sprue. We'll just click on the tool, click OK, get a side view. Remember to press Control, click, and then right click. And then I'm going to see if I can actually move it. So if I click on that, select the sprue I just added, right click, left click again, move it over here, and obviously that's not connected. So now right click to confirm, right click again. So after 7 clicks I ended up with nothing, basically.
Nothing. So you can see that's the functionality of spruing, and you can see sprue to spruing. This was again set up in Millbox, so some of the original setup configurations is not porting 100% over to some 3D, but you can see this same problem would happen in some 3D if you wanted to change it. Now, if we go to Millbox, let's change that orientation.
If I go to Millbox and want to move the screw around, I can just left click and drag it anywhere I want. It never detaches from the crown. It keeps its direction, and it goes where I want it to, not where the software wants it
and
to.
a cool new feature too now is, that is hard to see on here though, is, you see this line here? This is the equator line of the unit. So what you can see here now, we'll highlight, is there is, this purplish, grayish color. That's actually a undercut indicator. So if you're just milling in 3-axis, or sometimes, some of the strategy operations just only come up from top and bottom, so they don't do any undercut milling, you will have a bar. Sometimes you see there's less detail under a sprue. Well, this visualization also helps you determine where that equator is, so that you get, you minimize the amount of time that you are post-milling finishing, and you get that cleaner finish. So again, what does this equate to? Less labor, less time. You're letting the machines do the work, not you, so you can do other things such as maintain machines, make calls, follow up with customers. A lot of this stuff, it does, it is a skill set, but, there are certain skill sets that you could also focus, getting more value out of, such as calling the customer. So next features, I guess you can show.
And by the way, we didn't even show the simplest thing. We're not holding Control or Shift
while
we're moving the mouse.
It's
just right-click and drag to change the angle.
So you can just hold the copy and.
Same as 3Shape, so there's no more confusion when you're switching back and forth between the softwares.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So that was a little exaggeration, but.
Well, I think it's pretty cool. It's always so tough. Probably once you get used to it, it comes natural, but like when you're actually training a new customer, the difference between okay, am I pressing Control, am I pressing Shift, am I right clicking, am I left clicking?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, like when they're adding a sprue, especially in some 3D, they get in the mode to add the sprue, and then they don't hold click Control when they right click to change the angle, and the sprue gets placed somewhere random, and it's initially much more difficult to grasp. So for those to delete a sprue, by the way, you just left click on it and delete.
Or I guess there's another one, is click here, and then there's also the delete button. And one other thing too is you can just delete them all using that button. So it's really, really simple just to get things done. Again, you can configure some 3D not to sprue automatically if you're never satisfied with the automatic output, but again, it's typically pretty good. But now with Millbox doing that all for you, it's pretty simple to move. That's why a lot of people didn't like it, because you'd have to right click 10 times, left click, right click, and now it's automatic, but you can see how easy it is to just move it around and get it to what you want. And then also, since I'm on it, you can just change the type if your strategies support it. So.
And to select multiple screws, if you want to change all of them to red or a couple to green, you can just hold Control and select multiple screws.
So we did that, holding Control right now. That's the one time you do have to hit Control.
That's more like a Windows function.
Yeah, so, but you can see right there, we're doing that. And then same thing, you want to add, boom, boom, and boom.
One more thing, for those of you who like to bring those units closer together, there is something cool about that as well. So I'm gonna, did I show the undo?
No,
I did not show my favorite button.
This is Elona's favorite button.
So and now,
drum roll, please.
I want all the screws back to the way they were. I don't like how Paul did it. So I have an undo button. For any of you who have ever deleted an ISO bridge by mistake, I've done it more than a handful of times. You'll really appreciate.
Just to show them.
You'll really appreciate the undo button.
Yep.
I sure do.
So, whoops.
And I can just undo, and there it is. I don't have to wait for 7-8 minutes for an ISO bridge to load.
Right click.
So I'm going to undo until I bring all of the units back because I like how they were before. I'm just going to delete one of them so I can show you what I'm trying to do. I'm going to move this unit around so that screw is facing that slightly. And then if I click and drag the unit to bring it in closer, it'll automatically connect with that unit.
Yeah, and so it is, just to note, it is based off of the original unit's sprue location, so it's not like you can change it after it. So it will work, but it, I think some people have seen the AG ones where you can kind of pull some of them both ways, but this one is just, just a direct offshoot from the original unit. Now, one other thing too, going back to the visualizations that I can show too, I'm going to rotate this a little, is now you see that unit there is green, the sprue is green or blue, I'm not colorblind, but once I pull it down, it starts flashing yellow. And so that's to warn you that it's no longer connected. So sometimes if you're really getting in there trying to do sprue-to-sprue action in there and you don't notice that, well, at least it will warn you. And again, you can see down here, just like you wouldn't see in some 3D, that I have a unit that is sticking out of the disk. So that's just one thing to do. Note, and then sometimes it will do it again with where it doesn't quite. Let's see if I can get to do it. No, it's just too good. But yeah, you can see that. So I just wanted to point that out too, is that flashing yellow helps you in this whole process too, because I know a lot of people do like that. We don't typically recommend it because of the risks sometimes, but for people who want to, it's there and it is awesome. Go ahead.
And that flashing sprue is actually useful also when you're nesting next to a previously milled hole.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of customers sometimes will not notice that the screw is not actually connecting to physical zirconia. It's actually connecting to one of the previously milled areas.
Mm-hmm.
So Millbox will have that flashing saying, hey, there's no material there because you milled something else previously and there's nothing connecting the screw to it. So are you sure you want to leave it there? Okay. And you can change the angle of the screw. So if you hold it in the corner, it will change the angle instead of changing the position. And then hold it in the center to change the position. Same with the other screw. Corner will change the angle. Center will change the position. Okay.
Okay. Some other killer features for people that engrave. You're used to, we'll show you the engraving process that you would do in some 3D first. So we'll go in here. This is the coping, collar, 0. Okay, that's the, that's the name. So this is the typical workflow, just trying to identify what you need. And then you go in, new engraving. I'm going to do 02 because that was coping. And okay, oops, well, something's broken on this one, but that's the gist of it. Sorry. Let's see if I can get this to show up now. Did I break it? I did.
Sure did.
Sure did.
Good thing we don't need some 3D anymore.
Yeah, let's see, actually, no. I'm just going to close it now. So close the window. Yep, technical difficulties. Well,
it's called tech support.
Tech support. Elona. All right, so I'm going to go back to that really quick. Though, cancel. And get it up. And we'll quickly get it up and running. In the meantime, I guess we'll just go back to Millbox and just show you what you would have to do now. So you can see right here when I click on a unit, it says FC Post Molar. Now you don't have to do the F11 anymore, it's all there. And then now there's a feature in Millbox that will essentially fill in the text for you. So if you only put certain characters in there, or if you had, this would be the same thing as your 3-shape names or naming schemas, you put your shades in there. You just have to go in, quickly delete it, and you get the value there. I'm going to do 1A, and boom, So it's right there. Do the same thing on another unit. Want to engrave, insert, just do molar. We'll call it Mo. Mo. So yeah. So you can see it's pretty easy, but it simplifies, again, prevents mislabeling units. What else? Yeah, just accidentally typing the incorrect word, but it just makes it cleaner, simpler. You're not guessing, going back and forth, doing the F11, hover, wait, and then do that work again. So again, more streamlining and just a lot more ease of use. So it's simpler to train new people if necessary. Just say, click on this button, type it in, put in the last 2 characters. That's it. Simple things you can do however you want. The world's your oyster in this case. But that's still the same thing with Millbox. It's customizable like some 3D. It just has a better interface and workflow. Again, I will keep emphasizing that.
And I think that it has the more common things that you would run into right there at your view, instead of having the 24 buttons on the bottom, depending on what interface level you're using.
Yeah, and just
you can
also no, sorry, I just wanted to point out, some 3D did this for us. We asked for this feature, so Cap helped design this. It wasn't there originally, so it was one of those things. Before, you'd have to go into Tools, Engrave, Insert, so again, it was increasing the click, so we were trying to keep it within the theme of simplifying the workflow. And these are your common things you typically do, which is engrave, add stabilizers, and then these are 2 other functions that we can potentially go over if people ask about it, I guess. So
I was just going to say, so are you saying that people can add suggestions for enhancements to add more buttons there?
That could be, but I think it's still not easy to add.
It should go by a vote, right?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, the more common things are here. It gives you the first view whether you select the correct object type here. Sometimes you do select the incorrect one. If you did select the incorrect one, you can change it right from here to whatever else it needs to be.
Now there is a warning for some of that.
There is a warning, yeah. So I'm going to change this to coping. Oh, too quick.
She was too quick.
Change this to full contour. All right.
So one of the things that happens when some 3D or Millbox imports it is that they do curve generation automatically. So some other CAM softwares that people look into sometimes, they don't see that this is an actual thing that some 3D sim systems does very effectively, is automatically generate these curves. All these curves are needed for setting up the strategies to mill the right paths and tool axis. It's not always 100% right, but it's pretty good, and it simplifies it to the point where you don't need someone technically proficient in the way of generating a curve or knowing what to do in the strategy. So what we're saying here, though, is when you do change it, sometimes it won't apply those curves, and you may have a problem in your strategy because you just did it manually this way and it didn't auto-generate. So
So definitely don't use it for inlays, onlys, and veneers, because we don't want those to have margin curves. And if you import it as a full contour crown, it will add it, and you'll see the puck going sideways like this.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I always emphasize, actually. But switching from coping to crown, vice versa, not a huge difference. And then another thing, when you're bringing in a larger ISO bridge with multiple angles, we always have you make sure and check that the angles are below 20 or 25, depending on what mill you're using. You don't have to click it's a 3-click just to pull up that table that shows the angles in some 3D. Here you just left click and it's at a first glance right there on the top right.
And another killer feature again, and I think I'll show you, is more pertaining to screw retained crowns. You can see that it warns you when the angle is too steep.
I did not know that.
So if you see right here, this is in the top right, you see the angle B is 27. Well, the machine can't do that. And this is a 52, so I believe that's 20 degrees. 25? I think it's 20. It's set for 20 right now. So, but
maybe it's sticking out or no?
That might not be. So that's one part of it. But watch, if I let go, it should. Oh, I guess maybe it's because it's there. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. See, it snaps back. So if I try,
okay, so yeah, it's at a 29.
So So for this machine, it's the angle limit is set to 30. It looks like, and it will snap it back. So it like, snap.
Doesn't allow you.
So it won't let you do it.
That's good.
And again, you can try to fit a unit into a disc, if you needed to. It's still risky, I think, at this angle because you could have potential issues. But that you can see is a cool feature in itself. Again, is that it will help you set the jobs up correctly the first time and not having to waste your mill time and material and your time in general. So again, that's a huge thing right there, and you can see if you want precision in some sense of what you want to rotate it by, you can see all that stuff on the top right as needed. So okay.
And the only other thing that I did want to mention is the offset. Changing the offset for size 18 or larger discs, it's also right there. And I think just looking at it there kind of reminds you that you need to change it, as opposed to in some 3D it's hidden somewhere and you have to locate the button to be able to change the offset to what it is.
So you just hit that. There you go. It was just quick.
And you can do it for multiple units at the same time. You don't have to do it for one at a time.
For those
However,
larger units, oops.
Yeah, so for more than one unit.
You hold shift.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd have to go under the tools menu.
No. Oh, that was just that one.
Okay.
So you did it right. Tools menu.
Yeah. So for multiple units, you can just left-click Control to select all three of them and go under Tools menu to change the offset to what it needs to be. So unfortunately, that quick command there is for individual STLs.
Yeah, and that's the design intent for it.
Yeah, I don't know that it's unfortunate actually because we want to
keep it simple.
It is individual, yeah.
Yeah. So it does fall within the design.
Stabilizers, you want to go over those?
Stabilizers, go ahead.
All right. So there are 5 options now instead of just one. The first one is the one you're used to normally, the solid D-shaped puck or stabilizer, sorry, connector. The second one is a solid zirconia ring around the entire unit, and you can set what you want that thickness to be and the height to be. I can't actually import it for this unit, obviously, but I just wanted to show you the 5 different options there.
So we're going to bring a bridge in. So again, you can see how, yeah, it's, sorry, I can't get to that button quickly.
You've been able to do the up or
back. The
back?
webinar button's in the way.
Try the back.
Oh yeah, you're right. And full contour bridge. Let's do 4 units. So it looks like, yep, okay. And full contour bridge, add it. So while that's loading, so you're going over some of the stabilizer. So there are more stabilizer functions available for people who want to use them. We still recommend the base one just because we have more experience with that one. But if you're willing to use it for other, experiments or at your risk, you can do it. We don't use it still for other stuff, but there are other functions available. So going back to that though, to the stabilizer. So quickly getting to it, 2 clicks. Let's see, let's do that one for you.
Okay. So
yeah, just click it. You have to click on it.
So click on the stabilizer and click on the unit you want to add the stabilizer to. And you can change the thickness and the height to whatever you need it to be, basically.
And then let's show them the other ones.
The hollow D shape.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't always like it. Yep, there it went. It's not big enough, but for like a large Iser roundhouse,
it's not even big enough to show that it's hollow in the middle.
Yeah, it's that one's good for what we've been told. It's more for if you want to put a unit inside of it to help it out again. But again, it's more it's a we're more comfortable with the solid shrinkage stabilizer for now, but again, as you play with it, maybe we'll see more success with it. So we're trying to set you up for success, but we haven't had enough experience to say if it's a good thing. But obviously it's in there, so people have. So
yep, I have heard high demand on this feature.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of other CAM softwares are using it successfully. So
Yeah. So if it does, then do it.
Yep. And then the half a ring. Again, it might look better with a full arch, but basically just creates one solid ring only on one side of the unit,
Mhm.
and you can change the height and the thickness here as well.
Yeah. And then the last one is similar to the first stabilizer. Just goes all the way to the top, and it just doesn't mill as much material. So essentially what that does is saves your burr life. You do get a thicker stabilizer, and
Seems like this follows the thickness of the...
that's -1. So you're going outside of it.
Oh, okay.
So 0, you do 0, try that. So that's just the whole thickness of it. You can see, but it doesn't really matter because it won't mill that anyways.
That's true.
So that's kind of the functional feature for that in itself. So I guess last thing, let's get rid of that unit though, since we're going to show you the, let's delete it, just more for calculation times. And I'm just going to show you, just re-nest it. And just show you that some of the functionalities while we do this is just to save toolpath or start milling, which is similar to the send to mill function. It's just two different functions in here. And so since this is a 52 and a new disk, you have to assign the holder that it's assigned to. Now the way that Roland has this specified is that it's cam driven. So they don't, once you set this, it's set. And there's no method to make the change. Now this isn't a Millbox limitation. It's a Roland kind of product specification in the sense that this is how they wanted their workflow to work with the 52 DC. And so you can see, put it in there, it'll start calculating. So what it's doing right now is collecting a lot of the files and rebuilding the package so that it's sent to basically the background of some 3D to calculate, and you can see it popped up because it's kind of calling it in the background. And now it's going to start calculating after we click. Those were the options, the same standard stuff that we have in some 3D. There are features now though in Millbox though that allow you to pre-select that, so you don't have to do it every single time. So again, we're covering just the surface of a lot of this stuff. We did cover a lot of the nesting because that is a lot of the work that you do day to day, every day. And while it's calculating right now, you can go, do what you need to do or get another job, set up and get your case pans while it's doing this. And now, one of the things that people are always interested about is calculation time. Now, Millbox is a little bit slower because it's also calculating the simulation too in the background. There's a lightweight version of it that will help give you feedback every single time so that you prevent any issues, or if there is an issue, you're able to detect it. And we'll see it after this is done. If there are any issues, there shouldn't be, but if there is, at least you'll see it, and then we can just show you some of the simulations functions that are still there with the old setup.
But I mean, it cuts down on human labor. This is just having the PC, let it do its thing, and then walk away and do something else, right?
And one thing some 3D let us know is that they are working on GPU calculation development. We don't know when that is exactly, but it is in the works. They've been focusing a lot on Millbox in the interface and getting the functionalities ported over from some 3D to Millbox so that you can do ISERs, you can do all the advanced workflows, as you can see. And now they can focus, some on the, calculation times, which will eventually come out, hopefully very soon, because we also like that also. let's see, other things that you can see while we're waiting. Actually, I'll bring up a new mailbox.
Yeah, I forgot to go over the brush option.
Oh, the
Want to
brush
show
option?
that real quick?
Sure.
That's another feature that.
Yeah, that's only, well,
Fifty-two.
that's useful in the 52.
Oh, no, I meant the select tool.
Oh, the select tool.
Yeah, I apologize. The select tool, not the brush.
Let's see. All right, which one's up? So that's this one. And let's actually get rid of these. And we can go over some of the other, I will leave that there. So this is a function that I think other people have asked for at times. So with hybrids, a lot of times, we did have a solution in some 3D that allowed you to offset the thickness a little bit of the fit of the hybrid units. And what they do have now is a interface now that will do that. So our solution is obsolete now, and Millbox has come up with a superior solution to allow you to configure these changes on the fly for certain units. If a certain doctor or your mills are drifting a little or anything like that, you thought it's a little loose, so you just you rework it and you just make it a little tighter. Just by using this, you don't have to redesign everything. And so I'm going to just do something extreme right here for this. And what you see now is that this surface is highlighted, and in that surface itself that's highlighted, it will offset and create that dimensional change that is that you've specified. And you can do it individually for each one, and it will still show you the various colors. So if anything, if you're having issues or anything like that, or a doctor has a preference different than your current design parameters in 3Shape or ExoCAD, and you just make that quick adjustment. It's there and it's available. Not always recommended, but it's just a quick fix to give you that customization, flexible, make it flexible for you. Again, then you can just undo them as needed. So you want to show them the paint function?
Yeah. So if you're nesting 5-6 units, maybe one of which is a bridge, and you are concerned with the undercut milling portion of only that specific unit, obviously the strategy has the option to do undercut milling, but if you select in the strategy, it's all or nothing type of deal. If you want only one unit or only certain areas of one unit to be better milled or have optimized milling or more detail, then you have the option to manually select that area using this select tool, the one that looks like a brush. That's why I called it the brush option. And you can highlight any area that is of interest to you. And when you actually start the calculation, the step that allows you to use to mill this area better is clearly identified as select this option for manual selection.
And this is all still within the constraint of what that strategy option is limited to, but let's say for a large iser, you don't want as much detail in certain areas that are used for undercut milling. Let's say you just want all the facial to be done, but you can kind of ignore the posterior area. It will just increase or decrease the total milling time in that sense. Or again, as Elona was saying, if you have multiple units and you don't really want everything to have undercut milling for these specific units, and it will just focus on the one unit that you may want to have certain areas in more detail. Again, it's strategy dependent, and even if you don't use us for strategy options, it's all dependent on how your reseller sets up their strategies. All right. And so for this case, we're just going to show you really quick what you would do. So this disk was already used in theory, so that's why it's still A.
Yeah, you change it.
And even though I changed it, or I can't change it, it will not let me. Again, it's not us.
That's so you don't make a mistake and select the incorrect adapter by mistake.
So, we know people still try to do this and still want to because they don't want to pay for additional fixtures, but that's a lot of work, and you have a lot of disk, and you may not have that flexibility. So what we recommend is writing the letter of the holder that it's supposed to be assigned to. It still can be used in a 51 or 50. The same stock files are compatible with some 3D and Millbox. They may be different folder locations, but again, Millbox, some 3D, stock files are all the same. They all work together. They're just a little different in where they're stored. So that's just a systematic change maybe in how you proceed forward. And so this is us, again, this is where the brush, we're saying right here, requires select tool to define area. So if this was something that you wanted, then again, 5-axis manual, that's 5-axis continuous, so where it's always moving continuously, where 3+2 is fixed location, and then it mills fix, and it still does that. We recommend the 3+2 because it's a little more stable, quicker calculation times, and it gets the detail that you need. Again, all these options are here, and then with the 52, you have the brush option, literal brush, that's what I thought you were talking about. But and go from there. So now going back to the other unit, you can see here, now this simulation appears, that's the background one on the other one. Go back here. What we were talking about is the simulation in itself is what it's highlighting. So you can see here, there's this green area right here. That's undercut.
Yeah.
So like that's where material would remain because the tool didn't get in there well enough. See, if you look from the top, there may not be able to get the 1 millimeter far enough down to finish it effectively. So you can see these highlights. So instead of running the kinematic simulation, which we'll show next, you just have this right here and there, so you can make your adjustments if necessary before sending it to the mill. In theory, it should show red, but I haven't been able to show that because it seems to work for me every time, but I haven't been able to replicate it. But you'll see a red or a blue indication if there's that issue. So you can see right here if I just show you just the unit itself, so you can kind of see right there. Leaves a lot of material in that area. And obviously, as people who have experience with CAM, there's material left around the sprues because there's clearance around there. And then you see right here, red. You wouldn't see that unit, like that's all chopped off. And then the fossa detail is not always captured. So you can see a lot of feedback quickly without a lot of overhead to do this. This is all done simultaneously. And another feature that is not turned on this computer at least is that the reports can automatically generate. So it'll automatically create the report for you, bring it up so you can print it, and we continue on. Just again, the automation features are all there. Let's see if I can show you. So here's the other one, for people who still want this. You can get the more detailed version here. And so
I like it more.
She likes it more. But I mean, this is more time.
Preference, totally.
So this is more time. This is all I'm saying. This is the first part is a warning. This is more, okay, what's going on? What's going on exactly with my mill? So because you can do step by step. And as we get close to the end, I'm going to start looking to see if anyone has had any questions. Oh. Let's see. Pop this out. How long is calculations? It's some 3D in the background still working on it, so it's similar in that sense. A little bit longer because it's doing the calculations for the simulation at the same time. So again, just to think of it, some 3D is the base layer of Millbox. Millbox is on top saying, hey, I look better. I don't want to show you the ugly parts behind. So so that's a way to look at it in some ways too. So
the calculations will vary depending on the size of the object, depending on how much undercuts, the angle, and what options to select in the strategy as well.
And then another question is, the software is available now. to kind of give you an overview of what it costs. It's it's a little confusing in this way. So if you have some 3D now and you've purchased it in the past, you need to purchase an add-on, which is $9.90 just for this add-on. But you need to be up to date on your maintenance on that dongle. So now if you don't know that, we can show you how to figure it out on your Sum 3D. Is you simply go, let me get this out of the way for me, is you simply click on here. There's a gearbox, Roland DG, and about, and there should be a dongle number here, and then there's a year on the back. And so that kind of tells you the amount of maintenance you would need. So still call us or your reseller to figure out you know, what the cost would be to do that. But if you purchased a new mill this year with a new dongle for Sum 3D, it's available in the current packages that are out there now. So it's available for the 52, 50, and 51. So if you have a 52 DC now that you purchased from us this year, you do have access to Millbox. So all you have to do is call us to schedule a time. You know, we have a training calendar now to help us allocate times, because we're trying to balance keeping support as efficient as possible to help you throughout the day, but this installation upgrade can be done throughout the day. So is this compatible with the Whelen Xenotech Select Mill? I don't know. We don't support the mill, so it would have to be a package that maybe Sum 3D or Sim System support, but we wouldn't support that.
Probably would know.
But you could be able to, Whelen might know, or we can talk to Sim Systems to see if they have a package for you. And if you need to purchase a mill, no, you do not have to purchase a mill. You can just purchase the software as needed, since it is you know, open to any mill that Sum 3D Sim System supports.
I think you skipped Eric's question.
Yeah. Do you still use vPanel? Yes. So it's the same functionality as Sum 3D. It'll send it to vPanel, where you will automatically start your mill if needed.
You don't have to. If you only have one mill, you can send the job directly from Millbox, and it will start the mill while it's actually still calculating. If you have multiple mills, however, the software can't really distinguish between left or right, or however the mills are named, to know which one to send it to.
What will happen to all my used pucks in Sum 3D? So again, the pucks are compatible. They may be in different folders to start off, or we can pull them all in. Longer term, I know Sum 3D, or keep calling them Sum 3D, but they're Sim Systems.
Yeah.
They have a tool to help import all the stock files from Sum 3D's folder location to the Millbox, because what it ends up doing is taking your stock folders that you're used to with, like, separated by materials. Mm-hmm. It adds another folder in there that sorts them by height. Yeah. So when you go to do that, it doesn't always work. If you were just to drag them all in there, you need to import it, and then it will bring it in there. But you can still use them. I just want to make that very clear. Sim System stock files between Sum 3D and Millbox work together. So it's just a little transition from when you start. You know, it's just like any other software. You start using it, you start incorporating it, and it will continue to be built into your workflows. And then you don't have to worry about your old stock as much. It will just be kind of like an archive of, you know, those discs that you may have had 3 months ago, that it's in that folder. You can find it because you can navigate through it. And we can show you that really quick, as we were showing you before.
Basically, you can actually copy the discs that you have in Sum 3D and paste them into Millbox. However, after that, you want to split them into the appropriate size folders. So initially, it's a little manual. If your discs are properly named, then it's pretty easy to select all the size 14 all at the same time and move them to the size 14 folder, but it is a manual process.
So I can show you if you really wanted to, so you could just go in here and basically go through and find it in the folders that you had it in, the stock used. You could do that, or go back. So this is similar. You just find it in there, or you just go into your tools. Oops. Tools, usable blocks, and you can import your stock from here.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's all there. It's not limiting you. You can do what you need to do to get the job done. So I guess any other questions? Because I think we're done. Hopefully it didn't kick everyone off. Let's see. All right. I guess that's it then. Well, thank you for taking your time to learn about Millbox. To get more information, contact CAP and ask your equipment salesperson to help you out, and they can get you a quote. You'll need your dongle number. Again, I showed you in there. You can look on our knowledge base to also figure out how to do that again if you forgot. And then I guess that's about it. And I guess last question, can you nest multiple disks at once? You can, if you're running multiple, if you have two monitors, I would recommend, which we would recommend, you can nest multiple jobs at the same time and continue on as normal. It's just depending on your computer system and all that stuff, it may have a performance hit.
Nesting, okay. I don't recommend calculating two jobs at the same time because they're basically both going to take longer to calculate versus let one finish then calculate the next one.
Yeah.
So nesting, yep, that's perfect.
Nesting and all that stuff, but it's pretty good still if you needed to. We still do it in production in some ways. And one thing to note, it's not compatible with Capzilla just yet, but we're working on that for anyone who is watching that has Capzilla. We are taking some of the functionalities and making it even better for Capzilla users. So anyways, I think that's it. Thank you again. Again, call your salesperson if you have any questions on quote pricing and getting you set up to kick butt with Millbox. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.